So, welcome to Dark Roast and Deep Conversations. My name is Megan. I am your guide and host. And this is a series about becoming aware of what's living inside of us, acknowledging and coming to a place of acceptance with that. I call that the grief phase. And then moving into mindful action. Now, I say all of this like it's a clear linear step. It's not. It's much more circular than that. And today is episode 7. So we're shifting into the mindful action, and this is all about what if those habits that you give yourself a hard time about are actually your attempt to soothe and take care of all of that griefy, stressy, messy stuff that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So, before we get started, who am I? I am a vocational doula. I collect letters the way that some people collect shoes, but in all seriousness, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, certified brain spotting practitioner, former pastor, and educator. That's right, I have a lot of those. And I think I've collected a lot of those in order to find my way in the woods when I'm lost, because if I'm honest, I've spent a lot of my my life wandering around there. So now what do? I help you make your way through the messy middle and the woods, because we can get lost in the woods, or we can learn how to engage with them and be with them, and believe it or not, that's where the magic and the mystery lies. And so my joy is journeying with you through the liminal space, as well as helping people cultivate community and deep and rich conversation there. I'm a super messy human, and I'll share a little bit more at the end, should you want to reach out in person. So here we are. We're going to come in and down together. So this is a process called resource spotting, body resourcing. It is a self brain spotting practice that you can do. And in brain spotting, we say where you look affects how you feel. So just take a moment. Tune in. Allow your body to really sense what you're sitting on, or standing on, or lying down on. You're going to scan your body for the place that feels most grounded, most connected, calm or peaceful. And as you do that, you may shut your eyes, and that's fine. It's great. And I'm shutting mine. You might notice that your eye gaze is going to want to shift. So mine is actually moving over. It'll to my right, and it's going to the left side of my bottom and leg today. Oh, and just notice every eye gaze position goes with a body position, goes with a felt sense. When we connect those 3 together, when they resource, we can allow ourselves to just support ourselves a little bit. All right. As you're ready, you're going to want to come back into this place, time, and you can kind of just scan your horizon if you want, right? Our eyes help us really orient to the world. They can help us come in and down. They can help us build a sense of security and safety in our body, or recognize that we're safe. Just notice So, as I was saying, the process of, wait a second, this habit that I've developed, what if it's actually been attempting to help me? So I'm going to tell you what Tracy Dunblazer, this is her book, Transforming Grief, or Transformative Grief, excuse me. And she is a guide specialist in grief and loss of all of its many manifestations. She talks about the circles of grief. So the inner circle would be the initial loss, wound, or hurt. And then the second circle is how we tend to that loss. And that can be doing a variety of things, you know, overeating, overworking, over drinking, smoking, scrolling, doom scrolling. Oh, people, I can do that one. Oh my gosh, this is here. There it is. And then the third circle is the problem that gets started from the coping, i.e., overeating, and especially overeating foods that soothe us but may add to our cholesterol, lead us to be more likely to be diabetic, all of those things. Smoking, obviously, over drinking can turn into an addiction. But it also, I'm a sober person. And so it can also numb us out in ways we don't know, that I didn't fully recognize until I was sober, um, as well as how it messed with my sleep, my focus, my all of that. Anyway, um, doom scrolling, right? We get sedentary, we get locked into the phone. The phone actually is addictive in that sort of feeding sense. And then we've developed this adjacent outer problem. So that's Tracy's theory. So I say all of that to say, like, oh my gosh, this was our wise self's best, or this was how we best solved that problem of the grief, because that center circle can hurt so bad. So how do we cope with that? So I want to talk to you today, and this is a concept that comes from Buddhism. And it's the idea, and boy, I don't like this one, but it's that pain is inevitable. That's right. Any path you choose is going to come with pain. But our suffering is optional. Now, I say that and it sounds super binary, and I don't mean it in that way, right? So when we're in that center and it hurts super bad, that is the pain. How do we be with ourselves in the pain? So, true story. I have been having a week, actually a couple, and I just feel kind of stretched thin. We have a lot of astrological energy going on right now. I've had a lot of death loss, and also sick and suffering, not in my most immediate sphere, but in my outer sphere. And then last night, my beloved spouse and I were at the storage unit moving some things around. My bonus daughters are young adults and they're shifting and moving. And so also we have the storage unit because that has my parents' stuff. So needless to say, the moving, the storage, the seeing the things, that's a lot of like change. And what's my philosophy? Change equals loss. Loss equals grief. Grief, when we face it, we can grow. So we're doing all of this, and it's like the checklist. But inside myself, I did not feel checklisty. I'm stretched thin. But guess who else is stretched thin? My beloved Joe, who's sitting right. So we're both stretched thin. And we had to run to the grocery store to pick something up. And I looked at my phone for a thing. He personalized it. And then basically I I was like, "Oh boy, out came me." Right? A little bit of what Resmaa Menakem would say, dirty pain. came out on toward Joe. And in that moment, I caught it. I don't always do this, but I actually did last night. And I pulled back and I came in and I did some havening touch and I did a little bit of brain spotting with myself. And I recognized how much frickin' pain was in my body. Y'all, my insides hurt bad. And when my insides hurt bad, I can lash out at Joe, and I do. I want to snack and eat it away. I want to doom scroll. I used to drink red wine. It's just how I coped, especially when stretched super thin. So I took a breath, right? And Joe's doing his own thing where he's trying to thank me for being human in this way, but he doesn't feel grateful. And I feel pissed, but I'm trying to appreciate that he's doing something differently. So I take this breath. I'm like, fuck, I'm actually literally talking about this tomorrow. And I feel this pain. And I looked at him and I was like, honey, I'm just so stretched thin. I am in so much pain. I feel like my insides are being pulled apart right now. It just hurts really bad. And that's mine, not yours. And he looked at me and honored where I am. And we went into the grocery store, goofed around, did the things. Anyway, I'm sharing this with you because this is this is this is how both small but also real this stuff is, right? We feel the pain. It's mega big. You don't need to like dive into it and swim around and then, take a big sip of it like I'm going to do right now with my coffee. It's more a matter of like, oh, there it is. I'm going to pull my self 80s out. Oh, there it is. And then being with it just a little bit, right? Or sometimes you can't be with it right then because it's just so effing big. And so you know that it's there. And then that's starting to cultivate all those practices that we've started to talk about. This is painful. Suffering. Suffering happens when we maybe immerse ourselves in it and swim around in it. And it also happens when we shut it out. And I think of kind of discerning this as a daily, sometimes moment by moment process of like, where am I and how am I today? It's a real matter of discernment because some days we have capacity to be in this more and processing the feelings. And some days we have very little and we need to invite the grief. We take it, we do a little off and we ask it to step back. And so that way we just take little bits. We take little bits at a time. And that's why I talk about setting dates to be with our grief, setting the timer, spending 10, 15 minutes with it regularly, because grief doesn't take long time, but it takes consistent time. And sometimes we only have just a little bit, but acknowledging it and naming it, right? And so starting to get curious with where's this line for me, the suffering pain line. How can I be with my pain? How can I be honest with the trusted people in my life? I'm having pain. I'm in pain. And then if there's a need that you know, can you ask for it? This is also where having some of those simple things, like if you want to, you can rub your hands or rub down your arms or hug yourself, using that resource spotting, hand on heart, breathing. Anyway, there's a variety of ways that we learn to cultivate to be with ourselves in pain. So, you know what, friends? I actually don't have a poem for you today. I had one, and I didn't print it out because yesterday was yesterday. So, but I do. I held up Tracy's book. I want to hold up both. The Concept of Clean and Dirty Pain come from Resmaa Menakem. He wrote two. He's written more than two, but these are two excellent books that he's written: My Grandmother's Hands and The Quaking of America. So, friends, until we meet next week, where we are actually going to start talking about how do you engage with other people with all this stuff. May your coffee be rich and dark. May your conversations with yourself be meaningful. Blessings, peace, and namaste. And if you're still watching and you want to learn more about me, you can find the self-spotting guide in the show notes below here. You can find information about everybody that I talked about in the show notes. You can also schedule a private one-on-one dark roast and deep conversation coffee with me. That's there. And September 15th, that is my 50th birthday, y'all. And I want to celebrate it with you. And I want to do that on the Zoom. So there's a link to Zoom there where you can sign up and you'll get the link. And we are going to do a little bit of dark roast together. And I'm calling it Let's Talk About Death, Baby, because the reality is people come and talk with me about this shit all the time. And I want to help build the ability to start talking about it with people, not just Megan. So we're going to use the Death Deck. This is a fantastic deck. I'll also have information about this that you can find online. And it helps us start to have hard conversations about things that matter. And in this case, death. All right. Until we meet again, friends, blessings, peace, namaste. Love ya.